for the first 5 or 6 sentences is a lie.
One thing is abundantly clear from the tapes. Mark Furhman perjured himself earlier in the trial while testifying for the prosecution. March 15th, 1995.
And you say on your oath that you have not addressed any black person as a nigger or spoken about black people as niggers in the past 10 years, Detective Furhman.
That's what I'm saying, sir.
So that anyone who comes to this court and quotes you as using that word in dealing with African Americans would be a liar, would they not, Detective Furhman?
Yes, they would.
All of them, correct?
All of them.
But the tapes prove otherwise. All told, Furhman used the N-word 41 times on the recordings. He also brags about repeated instances of police brutality.
No blood mark. No problem. Not even any marks. Just body shots. You're trying to find a bruise on a nigger? Good job, huh?
The LAPD, still reeling from the Rodney King beating and LA riots, is suffering even more humiliation from the Furhman fiasco. A year earlier, they also embraced Furhman.
He's a highly professional, competent detective. He has the full support of the chief of police.
Now the police department has a different opinion.
I am horribly sickened and upset at what I saw on the screen by the words of this retired detective, and I'm glad he's retired.
But while the tapes are the subject of nationwide debate, the jury still hasn't heard them. Judge Ito takes a day off to study the tapes, decide on the matter, and draft a definitive ruling. Finally, he announces his decision. The jury will get to hear 2 brief snippets of the tapes, demonstrating Furhman has used the N-word in the last 10 years. They will not get to hear the other 39 instances of Furhman using that word, or his braggadocious ramblings about police brutality.
All of the world knows who this person is, but now our jury won't.
I think the judge is very, very weak. He didn't show no kind of justice.
I think the jury only needs to hear it once to know that Mark Furhman is a racist. Once you say the N-word, nigger, I mean, we pretty much know where you stand.
Judge Ito's decision smells of corruption, cover-up, underscore cover-up, racism, disrespect for all morally decent people in this city and in this country.
Jurors who've languished in isolation for days as the lawyers maneuvered finally get to hear the sound bites Ito has selected. Although these comments are tame compared to the rest of the tape, this is the first the sequestered jurors have heard about Detective Furhman's racism. Several are visibly upset as the tapes are played in court. But there's more to come. Judge Ito lets the defense call an assortment of witnesses to add a hateful exclamation mark to the tapes.
He said if I had my way, I'd gather, all the niggers would be gathered together and burned.
He said, the only good nigger is a dead nigger.
Officer Furhman turned around, looked at me, and told me, I told you we'd get you nigger.
Kathleen Bell, Natalie Singer, and Roderick Hodge all crossed paths with Detective Furhman in the previous 10 years. All vividly recall their encounters.
Nobody ever said that to me before. I heard the N-word before, but nobody ever said something like that to me before.
Finally, Furhman himself is led into court under tight security. Demonstrators march outside. Some proclaim Simpson's innocence. The jury isn't present when he's questioned by defense attorney Gerald Ullman.
Detective Furhman, was the testimony that you gave at the preliminary hearing in this case completely truthful?
I wish to assert my Fifth Amendment privilege.
Detective Furhman, did you plant or manufacture any evidence in this case?
I assert my Fifth Amendment privilege.
As Furhman leaves the court, O.J. Simpson is seen wiping away tears.
What more does anyone need out there to understand that we have now demonstrated this man had motive, he had opportunity, and now he's claimed the Fifth Amendment out of his own mouths.
But jurors won't get to see Detective Furhman repeat his performance. To explain his absence, Judge Ito proposes to tell the jury this.
Detective Mark Furhman is not available for further testimony as a witness in this case. His unavailability for further testimony both on cross-examination is a factor which you may consider in evaluating his credibility as a witness.
A higher court tells Judge Ito he cannot give the jury the order, and the defense loses its attempt to reinstate the instruction in the California Supreme Court. The trial drags on another week, to the jurors' obvious dismay.
Now, counsel, I realize that we're all tired and we wish this were over sooner than later, but this kind of petty bickering is not appropriate. And if you heard the snickering of the jurors as they were going out, they thought it was pretty silly, too. You know, it's amazing to me.
Without knowing what he's going to say, Your Honor.
It's astonishing what we've sunk to here. That we have to argue over waxing and waning. We have to argue over, and the waxing and waning goes to this side. The syringe goes to this side. This is incredible. This is just incredible for both sides. We'll take a recess for 15 minutes. If there's not a stipulation, then we'll have some more testimony, I guess. Thank you.
After refusing to rest its case during the prosecution's entire rebuttal case, the defense finally decides to throw in the towel.
It's difficult to end with bangs if the judge takes away our ammunition.
But there's one more piece of business.
Mr. Simpson, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor. As much as I would like to address some of the misrepresentations made about myself and Nicole concerning our life together, I'm mindful of the mood and the stamina of this jury. I have confidence, a lot more it seems than Ms. Clark has, of their integrity, and that they will find, as the record stands now, that I did not, could not, and would not have committed this crime. I have 4 kids, 2 kids I haven't seen in a year. They ask me every week, Dad, how much longer?
All right.
This trial over. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Simpson, you do understand your right to testify as a witness?
Yes, I do.
All right. And you choose to rest your case at this. All right. Thank you very much, sir.
From his heart, I thought he was wonderful.
I thought it was quite clear that he was speaking from the heart.
That is something that was heartfelt.
The prosecution should be glad O.J. Simpson didn't take the stand. He is a compelling and outstanding witness.
He hasn't seen his kids in a year. He's seen at least 2. I will never see my son again.
Back in court, the moment everyone has been waiting for, finally, is at hand.
I'm very pleased to say that we have no further testimony presented at this time, and as difficult as it is, the defense does rest at this point. Thank you.
With those words, the testimony phase of the trial of the century finally is over. Now attorneys for